Hi, I'm Andrew, an entrepreneur and a computer science student,
Hi, I'm Verene, a psychology major student.
and you're now listening to the Ink Thoughts podcast, where we ponder and talk about incongruous thoughts ranging from our daily life to the human mind.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ink Thoughts podcast. So for those who are watching the video right now, today is a bit different because Andrew is not here with me. I'm just alone because Andrew is actually on a business trip. So he's coming back tomorrow. Oh yeah. So anyway, for the past 1 week, it has been quite quiet for me because we've been living together for about 6 months now, and I'm just so used to him being like it beside me. So it just feels a bit weird and quiet. But anyway, for the past 1 week, I'm just basically working on my own stuff. Because next week we're actually having our, what's that called, Easter break. So for a month. So we have to make sure that most of our stuff are done before that, so we could have enough time to conduct our research project afterwards. So other than that, nothing very special, just working on my own stuff. But I do notice one thing, because like I said, it's very quiet at home, right? So I do notice that I have to keep either music or a random video playing in the background to just making sure that there's some voices or noises there, because it's just a bit too quiet for me. So other than that, just working on my own stuff. And actually at the beginning of the week, I've not been very, very productive because on Monday morning I submitted an assignment. I'm not sure if you know that, but like usually when you submitted an assignment, you do have that feeling like, oh no, I'm just so done, I don't want to do anything at all. That was my feeling. But I know I have a list of stuff to get done by end of this week, so I have to work on that. Just at the beginning, my progress is a bit slow, but anyway, I've completed all those, so I can sit here properly speaking to you guys and record this episode of podcast now. So today I'm actually going to talk about adulting. It's not like I don't have this feeling of adulting when I was back in Malaysia, but the feeling just becomes stronger recently. So I'll start with when I was back in Malaysia. So after I completed my undergrad study, I started working. So that time, the feeling did kick in, like, you're now working and you earn a salary every month. Every month when you saw that the money coming, your salary coming in, it just makes you feel like, wow, I'm actually earning money right now. I'm no longer the little girl that always asks my parents for pocket money and stuff like this. And now I was, of course, I'll spend wisely and save money as much as possible. But other than that, I'm not responsible of all this money because I earn it. I have to make sure I don't just waste it or things like this. Because earning is not easy at all. You work hard. So other than that, because I was working in an NGO that serves refugees mental health, so I have to be careful and thoughtful in the process of my work, because if I didn't do that, it will actually affect someone else's life. I didn't want to do that because, of course, I'm there to help them, so I hope the best for them. And of course, so I have to, be responsible of my job, of my patients. That feeling, like taking care of them, that feeling did give me a sense of adulting as well. But it's not as strong as after I come to the UK. I guess one of the things is like, when you're here, not to say that I'm alone. I do have Andrew with me, but other than that, like the most, not like most important, but the one point that actually makes you feel very different is your parents are not here anymore to help you. Like they're back in Malaysia, so anything that happened, you have to face it. So I don't know about you guys, but I remember in the past, whenever people ask me about like, if your car broke down, what would you do? What were the first thing that you do? I remember I always have this thought like, if that really happened, the first thing I do will probably be calling my dad. And who knows, that actually happened. Yeah, so I remember it was just, I guess, the first or second month of me working that time. So MCO was not fully lifted yet. I remember I was on my way back home. It's not after work because we were asked to go into office to carry out some work. So after those work that have to be done in the office is completed, then we will then go back home immediately. Straight away to continue our work. So I completed stuff that need to be done in the office, and I was on my way back home. I was still in KL area that time, I remember, but I'm not very familiar with KL road. So that time, suddenly I noticed that my tire puncture. Yeah, so I stopped at the side and not really knowing what to do. I called my dad. So I told my dad, like, my tire puncture, I don't know what to do. So that time he wasn't with my mom, so he asked me to call my mom, and my mom gave me the number of something. I forget what was that, and so I referred to dad afterwards and called the company, respective company. I can't remember what's the word right now. Yeah. Anyway, so although I wasn't expecting my dad to come to me to help me that time, I know he will tell me what to do, and I have to do it. I have to do it myself. But I know he was there, and if I do have something that I'm not that clear or anything, I can still go to him. Call him and ask him. That just makes me feel slightly more secure compared to like when you're alone, not knowing what to do at all. Yeah, so I guess that's actually not something very good, because it's just showing that I rely too much on my parents. But sometimes it's only until you have to face it something by yourself, you will notice that, yeah, your parents are actually doing a lot, and you're although you're already older than 18 or older than 21, you're considered an adult, but you're not doing all those adulting tasks that you should be doing. Yeah. Other than that, like for example, when something at home is broken, let's say the air conditioner, most of the time we will just, because I'm still living at home that time, so most of the time we will just go to our parents like, hey mom, the air conditioner is broken, maybe you should call someone to come and fix it or something like this. But at the end of the day, the one that is doing the calling and the arrangement is not us. It's usually our parents. Yeah, we are not doing that much, to be honest. We're just enjoying our life. So that time, yeah, basically just like this. So after coming to the UK, that feeling kicks in immediately. Like, you're an adult now, you have to be responsible of your life now. Of course, like those very simple tasks like doing the laundry, cooking food, buying groceries, stuff like this, you have to do it, or else, yeah, no food will be there. You still have to keep yourself alive, right? You have to do that. Yeah. Of course, these are just simple tasks, but you have to do it every day, or else how do you live? Yeah. So that's the first thing that makes it a bit different and reminds me a lot more about my responsibility of being an adult now, taking care of my life, taking care of myself. Yeah, so other than that, it's basically things like, because you're now living in a different country, of course they have different policies and stuff like this you have to follow. So you have to go and understand it and do whatever is necessary. Just that sometimes if it happens all at once, it makes you feel overwhelmed. Of course, I believe a lot of people that are studying overseas might have this kind of feelings, like something happen one after another, that you just don't have enough time to process things, that you have to settle it immediately, or else you don't know what would happen, because you're now in a different country, in a foreign country. you're not familiar with their systems. You have to learn, and yeah. But I'll consider myself lucky enough to have Andrew here. He's been here for 1 year before I came. So at least he could give me some guidance in what to do. I'm not starting from scratch, unlike some people. Yeah, you guys are really good. So, but living in a new place, you still have to deal with a lot of stuff, like let's say like cultural differences and yeah, especially like different system, different society expectations, stuff like this. Like you, it's only until you're forced to face something that you realize like you're actually growing, and you're a grown up now. You're an adult now. You can do a lot more. Yeah, you're no longer relying on your parents. In the past, we thought we are a grown up and we can do whatever that we want. But most of the time, actually, we are still relying on our parents because we live at home. We don't need to think about rental. We don't need to think about the bills, not even food. Yeah, like breakfast, dinner. Usually, it will be there, served, ready for you, and maybe you're just taking care of your money that you are using when you're out spending with your friends, when you're hanging out with your friends, just stuff like this. Yeah, most of the time it's just parents have everything ready for you. You don't really think about it. And perhaps a lot of people, they don't even do laundry or cooking. Yeah, to be honest, I won't say I don't do them at all, but it's not as much as my parents doing. Yeah, so that's a very obvious difference here. Yeah, so like living in a foreign country, it's not like you don't want to do something sometimes. Like like there's a lot of different stuff that you have to learn. You have to face them, especially when you're a newcomer, you don't know anything at all. You have to go understand it and settle it, or yeah, whatsoever. Sometimes it's just like everything happened at once that makes you feel very overwhelmed. And so you feel like giving up, but rest assured, like if you do it like one by one, everything is actually manageable. Yeah. So the feeling of adulting becomes even stronger recently because actually we are moving to another house. It's actually just opposite where we are staying right now, but you still have to handle a lot of different stuff, from the energy, from Wi-Fi, stuff like this. Like I have to contact the companies that is about our energy and Wi-Fi to make sure things are could run properly when we moved in. And of course some of stuff like we have to set them up and do all the cleanings before we move in to make sure that we have a comfortable and clean environment to live in, and also contacting the landlord if there's some issues that we need to settle that is related to the house. Yeah, when all this happen, it's not like you're not living your current life at all. You still have to juggle with that. Like for me, it will be my studies. Yeah, so things happen all at once, just makes me feel like, oh, this is so overwhelmed and I'm so stressed. But when you think about it, like everyone will have to go through it one day. Maybe not now, or some people have already faced it a lot earlier than you, or for some people maybe a lot later. But eventually one day you have to do it, because that's part of the adulting process. It's just you learning how to be responsible of your own life. Yeah. So now I kind of understand why people say like the faster way for a person to grow is to live overseas, because you're alone there. Yeah, you have to face things yourself. You have to do things yourself. You have to be responsible of everything by yourself. Yeah, you don't really have a choice to not do it, because if you don't do it, how do you live? Yeah. So apart from that, I'll say another thing is actually to face the loneliness. Yeah, for me, I'm not I'm lucky enough to have Andrew, so I'm not by myself all the time. But when you think about, you come to a new place, you're out of your comfort zone. You don't really have friends that you're comfortable with you anymore. They're back in Malaysia. Yeah, like time differences will affect how we communicate. And in the past, like when we want to see each other, and of course we live very near to each other, so we just say, hey, let's hang out later, or let's meet up 2 days later, something like this. It's very easy. But now it's no longer like this. Yeah, of course I miss them a lot. And I miss all those like fun times, or just random chit-chatting time, or even some deep talk time with them. But now that I'm here, they're actually very far from me. And that just makes you think a lot more about them. And sometimes when you think about having fun here, they're no longer here to accompany you as well. Which will be something like, you feel a bit sad that, yeah, they are not here. How much I wish I could share all my happiness and stuff that I'm seeing, stuff that I'm experiencing with them. Yeah, they're just not here. I mean, this applies to my family as well. Yeah. So when you're in a situation like this, I'll say, make sure that you go out there, step out of your comfort zone, and try to get to know other people. There's actually a lot of people out there that's very, very nice and all. I'll say, like, especially in the UK, everyone is actually very good in expressing themselves, and they don't mind talking to anyone. Yeah. I do have a few experience talking to strangers. I mean, strangers approach me and talk to me and stuff like this. Together with Andrew, yeah, they're just so friendly and nice. So, if you do have an opportunity to talk to people, yeah, just try to get yourself to do it. I guess this could be a little bit difficult for introverts, but believe me, if you genuinely try to get to know people, people will accept you as well. Yeah. So like for me, I remember at the beginning of my course, I feel kind of lonely. I don't really have friends. Yeah. But after that, I get to know a few people, and now we are quite close to each other. Like we do talk a lot more to each other, listen to each other, share stuff that is interesting to each other, and have some meals together and stuff like this. Yeah. I'll say I'm quite a shy person until today, but I'm so glad that I have this group of friends now who are very encouraging and helpful. Yeah, they are actually very, very nice. I'm not sure if they will be listening to this, but thank you very much for being there. Yeah. So, but I do notice, like, although we are quite close to each other, but we do respect each other's boundaries. Like, we know we don't really force anyone to do anything that they don't like, or hang out if they don't want to. Yeah. And whenever each other needs it, we'll try to help each other out as well, which I think is actually a good thing. Like, you respect each other's boundaries and you help each other out whenever they need it. Yeah. So if you are an introvert like me, believe me, you can do it as well. Yeah. And people are actually more friendly and approachable than you imagine they are. Yeah. So other than that, another thing that gives me a very strong feeling is actually homesick. So there are times that I miss my family so much. Although we do video call each other at least 2 times a week, sometimes it can be more depending on whether I'm free or whether they are free, because there's time differences. Yeah. So we talk a lot, but the thing is, like, doing it through a screen is still so different. I couldn't be there physically to hug them, kiss them, or just talk to them, or even just be there physically when they need. Yeah. I remember there was something going on at home and they tried to hide it from me. Although in the end I did find it out, but the reason that they're trying to hide it from me is that they don't want me to worry about them, about the stuff that's going on. It just makes me feel like so sad that I couldn't be there with them. Yeah, I really want to, but I can't. And another thing that reminds me and inspire me to get more professional in what I'm doing right now, and also be a better me and to earn more money, is that I wish I could afford to visit my family whenever I want to, and also able to afford to let my parents come and find me when they want to as well, without thinking about the money issue that much. Yeah, I know that when that thing is happening, even if I'm there physically, it won't help. But it just makes you feel a bit sad, like you couldn't be there. Yeah. So now, so like homesick, loneliness, stuff like this is part of this. So yeah, you just have to go through it. Yeah. Another thing about adulting is like I'm here right now and I have to think about my future, right? Yeah. I've been thinking quite a lot about could I secure a job after I graduate? And where should I be living? And how do I live a better life? And all sort of stuff like this. It just makes you overthink sometimes. Like, yeah, because it's not like you can choose not to think about it, but you might have a feeling like you're risking your life because there's no one else that you can rely on, to be honest. It's just you. You have to be responsible of your life. So sometimes it just makes me feel like, yeah, I have to think a lot more things about things like this, which makes me feel like, yeah, this is part of adulting. Yeah. So if I would go back time and tell me myself who first started coming to the UK, I'll tell myself to be brave. Sometimes it's just about pushing yourself a bit more. Yeah. Stepping out of your comfort zone step by step. Maybe it would be difficult for you to immediately jump from A to Z, but stepping out a bit by a bit, you can actually do it. Yeah. When things everything come at once to you, think about the priority and get it done one by one. You can do it. Yeah, because I was feeling quite overwhelmed by all this, but I know there's no point of me ruminating about it that time, so I'll just keep myself focused, tell myself like, you do one by one. You can do it. Yeah. And sometimes like people around you, let's say your friends or your families, although they are not physically there for you, they're just one call away, to be honest. Especially when today's technology is so convenient for us, that's just one call away. Call them, tell them, talk to them. Yeah. Although they can't do anything for you, but at least you know they will always be there supporting you. Yeah. And other than that, I'll say appreciate your time and do something that you think would be valuable. Like, let's say learning a new skill or doing some volunteering work or whatsoever, as long as you think it's valuable. So that it gives you an opportunity to connect with people, like local people or different people. Yeah. Sometimes you might even find friends through this kind of process, because yeah, you never know who you will meet during that process and journey. Yeah. And it will eventually help you to deal with loneliness as well. Because it's just not about connecting with people. It does also fill up your time with something that is valuable to you. I believe there's no one thing that every single people should learn, but eventually, because if that's something that's to do with living your life, of course, everyone would learn it. But other than that, I'll say do something that is actually meaningful to you yourself. Yeah. Another thing I'll say is to change your attitudes or thoughts towards something. Like, for example, instead of I know sometimes things could come at once and makes you feel so overwhelmed that you think like, why? Why should I be facing this? Why should all this thing come to me? But if that really happened, you actually have no choice of not facing it. You have to deal with it. So instead of keeping yourself in that negative thought cycle, you could try changing your thoughts or your attitudes towards like, okay, I'm trying to improve my life and trying to live a better life. That's why I have to face all this. So I'll do this. Yeah, it is difficult, but I can do it. Yeah, when you have all these thoughts and you get used to all these thoughts, it could actually be very encouraging and further push you to do more or to do it better. Yeah, you never know. Just try, give yourself a try. And of course, this requires time because sometimes we are just so used to those negative automatic thoughts that come immediately to us. We are unconsciously somehow. Yeah, so give yourself some time and remind yourself whenever you can. Yeah, whenever you notice or whenever you're aware that you have all these thoughts, remind yourself of this. Yeah, you can actually change it and perhaps make it into something even better that helps you. Yeah, encourage you a lot more. Change your attitudes at the end of the day. Yeah. So I guess that's all about adulting from me today. Yeah, it's not an easy thing to go through, I'll say, but I learned a lot from it. And I know that I'm now someone. I mean, I'm now a real adult now. Yeah, I don't know if that actually makes sense to you, but it just gives me the sense like, yeah, when I was 18 or 21, I was an adult, but maybe an adult that doesn't know much about living. Yeah, because most of the stuff I'm not doing it by myself. Yeah, it's already done very long ago, perhaps by my parents or people around me, but now it's different. I have to do it myself and I have to face it whenever it happens. Yeah. So I'll say it is something not easy, but just enjoy the process. Yeah, everything will bring you to something good at the end of the day. Yeah, as long as you know what you're doing. So before I end this episode, perhaps an insight from me. Like recently I've been seeing this quite a lot from different people. Like you might have plans and things that you want to do. Yeah, but try reminding yourself like, once you know which direction you're heading to, try to focus on the real thing that you're actually working on at that moment. Yeah, instead of focusing on any possible disruptions or challenges in the future. Yeah, because when you put in your full focus on what you're doing now, you get the most out of it. You enjoy the process itself. Yeah. And when you're doing all this, you're actually producing some work or some outcome that is actually good enough. Yeah, and all this can actually help you in relieving any possible disruptions or challenges in the future. That can actually make you feel even better. Yeah. So I guess that's the end of today's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you have anything else that you'd like me to discuss about or any topics that you want to hear about, yeah, just feel free to message us on our social medias or even drop me a message would be fine. And yeah, or if you prefer writing an email to us, feel free to do so. And thank you everyone for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed, do share with your friends and family and leave us a review on Apple Podcast. If you are not using an Apple device, you can leave a review on the Apple Podcast website with a link in the show notes. If you have any feedback or thoughts which you hope that we'll discuss in the future, feel free to email them to us at hello@incthoughts.com, or alternatively, you can send us a private message on our Facebook, Instagram or Twitter with the username of Ink Thoughts Pod. Thanks again, and see you all next week. Bye bye.